This video is sponsored by Factor 75. Get fresh, ready-made meals delivered to your doorstep when you sign up with Factor. Their menus are updated weekly. They have seafood, veggie, and keto options if that's what you're looking for. Check my link in the description below and use code FACTORSE10507 for 60% off your first box. So, y'all know how I feel about prophets. You do. I'm not a big fan of them. I think that another word for prophet is bullshit artist. But I think it is funny when there are prophets that they have specific things they need to say to us. And they're very important. And some of those things apparently happen while on the toilet. I was unaware of this, but I guess, you know, if ideas can come to us on the toilet, then maybe prophecies can too. But we'll get into that haul here in a second. Let's go ahead and get to the fan art section, and then we will get into the content. This one is from Wolfos4T, and it is a hybrid touched-up AI piece. My post-apocalyptic Suris. I've been working on it for a bit on this one. Even though my inner perfectionist says that there is more to do, I'll call this one finished. The next one we have is from Rosy Goggles. I have been working on the clothing style for my comic and decided to make a Suris. I think I have more work to do to go, but I like it so far. I like the shading on here. And also like the armor here, it makes me think of a Blue Eyes White Dragon for some reason. I appreciate this. The last one we have here is from XLR, said this is a body horror. Dumpy pulled a venom and is now a symbiote. Suris is horrified and pulls out a Bowie knife in an attempt to get rid of the invasive entity that is Dumpy. Yes, it will be funny if it gets featured, but I'm satisfied with it regardless. There's a lot of anger here. I feel like I've gone crazy and I need to stab. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you have a fan art piece you want to throw and have me look at, then drop it in the fan art section of the Discord. With that all said, let's go ahead and get right into stuff after you hit the subscribe button, the like button as well. Anyways, this is a prophetess telling us about her toilet adventures.
I was ministering in Africa, and it was...
Were you? Because what I think you were is not loud enough.
A few moments later.
kind of like, I have to say it was hard work, and I do like my creature comforts. So and you know, it'd been a tough time, and there'd been a lot of rejection, and a lot, you know, and here I am, this extrovert, you know, white with mohawk type, you know, woman about to preach, and I was feeling really like just internally jaded, you know, like, oh. And I looked at my watch, and I thought it was about 2 minutes before I've got to preach. I'll just nip to the bathroom before I'm on the platform. I'm sorry if this is too straight talking, but this is how it happens. So I'm in the ladies' restrooms and being as polite as I can about it. And literally, I lock myself in the cubicle. I go to sit down.
So before we get any further, I need to give everybody a trigger warning. Yes, British. Okay. Now we can continue.
On the toilet, I don't know how else to say it politely. And
you were
Spirit
shitting.
of God just said, "Come up here." And I am literally putting my hands against either cubicle wall going, I'm about to preach, God. What are you doing? You know?
And then everybody clapped. So you're telling me that as you were prepping to go talk about God, you literally had the equivalent of a religious hallucination while taking a shit. So one, I thought the age of like direct communication with people was over. I thought that was a pretty clear part in the Bible. For two, while you were taking a dump, really? That's what you want us to believe? You were taking a dump and God was just like, "Behold, my child, come here. I wish to show you such glorious things." The story of I was taking a shit and then God told me no. You actually have you actually have to go on a journey with me, my child. Sidebar, taking a shit for only 2 minutes? I wish I had that power.
Like Paul says, whether in the spirit or out of the spirit, I don't really know at that point. So I fly through the spirit realms.
You
And I
do?
find myself in one of God's gardens, and he is
God has gardens?
sitting quite peacefully in one of his benches in his garden, and I'm sitting there, and I'm saying to him, God, I'm preaching. I'm about to preach. What are you doing? This is not great timing.
You're not preaching. You're taking a shit, ma'am. You're taking a shit. Secondly, this went from God showed me a vision to actually I had a personal communication with him. He was sitting on a bench. I have lots of details here. Me and God, we get along. We're homies. We're roommates. This went from mildly unbelievable to wild fantastical tale. And the other guy there, look at this facial expression. Is this the facial expression of a man who believes the things you're saying? Or is this as close to a smile and nod as you can get?
You know, so, but he's so calm. And of course, you look in his eyes and you're like, oh, they can just wait. I'm staying here forever, you know, and you see him, and suddenly your entire being is whole in a different way. And
I love how that statement, your entire being is whole in a different way, means nothing. If I ask 10 people in my in my chat, and I'm going to ask you guys in the comment section right now, if I ask you to tell me what it means to be whole in a different way, I will get 10 different responses if I ask 10 of you that. If I ask 30 of you that, there might be a little overlap now because statistics are statistics, but I have no idea what any of you are going to say, because you can say anything to that. Anything can feel like it makes you whole, and feeling whole can feel like anything. But we, because we can fill in the blanks on that, we hear that statement and go, oh yeah, no, I know what that is. Yep, I felt that before. That is great. Yep, I love that feeling. And I'm not trying to like just make fun of somebody for being Christian. I'm not. But when you make the claim that, oh guys, actually I traveled to a spirit realm and I did X, Y, and Z here, I'm sorry, but following it up with a vague post, it makes it go, like I said, from not really believable to, oh, this is made up bullshit.
we lock eyes, and all that jadedness and all that frustration, and he doesn't even need to say anything. It's just the look. And of course, because he is peace, because he is joy, because he is life, you know, you sit in his shadow and you just sit, and suddenly it's all okay. And the number.
Okay, so that's all we have here. I wish we had a little more here. The person who created autoplay does not deserve human rights. I've said it before. I will say it many times. I will continue to say it, because it will continue to be true. I have to ask, is the purpose of communicating that experience to convince somebody that you actually had the experience, or is the purpose to raise yourself onto some level of importance? Like, oh, you communicated with God, you did it directly. Like, what is the benefit? What is the necessity of trying to convince people that you talk directly with God? I don't want to just be an asshole and make fun of someone. I want to truly and honestly figure out why stories like this come up, because they're not uncommon. They're not uncommon stories at all. We hear them from a lot of different pastors. I went and talked with God and he said this. Oh, I had a dream and God came to me and he said this. It's funny that this one happened to be like, girl was on a shitter and then she just kind of had a feces rocket that fired her up into the spirit realm. That's kind of funny. But truthfully and honestly, what is stopping somebody from having a prophecy, a thing comes in from God, and you just come back and say, actually, God told me the Bible is all wrong. God told me the Bible is all wrong. Everything about it, 100% bullshit, made up. What is stopping that from happening? What is stopping that from being the conversation that you go to your congregation with? Robler, thank you for redeeming your points for an owl. It feels like the type of thing that if you believe it sincerely, you can fall down a rabbit hole of believing all kinds of stupid things for no good reason. But more importantly, the people who believe you when you say it, if there are people who believe you when you say that you've gone and you've talked with God in the spirit realm, they will believe anything that you tell them. Because now anything you say, anything you do, it comes with the knowledge that, oh, actually, it could be informed by God. And that idea that somebody might be convinced to do anything because they think that you are the person who has direct communication with the deity they believe in, that idea scares me. The types of things that people can be convinced of doing when they believe they are ordained by a deity, that scares me, because you don't always believe reasonable things. I know plenty of Christians and pagans and people of other religions who do believe in deities and don't find themselves falling down these rabbit holes of, actually, I had a vision. I talked with him. We had a long conversation about Beyblade and why he gave Moses a Beyblade to part the Red Sea. I know there are people who don't do that. I know plenty of them, and I have seen plenty of them. But it's the existence of those people who do that concern me greatly, and they terrify me. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I don't have much more to say about this particular Nothing Burger prophecy, or the fact that it was ordained in such a shitty way. No idea. No idea what to say past this point, besides thank you for watching the video. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, insert end of video tagline here.